Yo, welcome back to It Starts With You podcast. What the fuck is that? I'm being silly. Guys, I love y'all. Thank you so much for being here. As you guys know, I'm the host, moneybagsbritt. Today's episode, we're gonna do a little special. Shout out to Angel, because Angel is the one who's always telling me, yo, you need to have a baking social media, like whatever. And I'm like, girl. But today I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. It's a great idea. And so I'm gonna share with you guys today a one-person cookie recipe. Because if you're like me, like when I bake, if I have an abundance of it, the only thing at night when I'm trying to go to sleep is gonna be, my head is gonna be, damn, there's some sweets in there that I could be munching on right now. And my ass is gonna be munching on them bitches all night. So I'm like, yo, I need to fucking have like, for when I just bake for myself. But for real, I'm gonna give you guys a one-person cookie recipe, okay? And then we're gonna sesh about the motherfuckers who say, God told me to tell you. Cause y'all know how I feel, okay? So like, me personally, I automatically assume like, when someone starts that way, that they're going to project something. And for me, I don't think that messages from God, this is just my personal opinion, God is energy, right? So I feel as if when you are to receive a message, it's gonna come as a download, you know, whether it be from your thoughts and experiences or something like a song or like something that you read or even a story or advice or anything that someone shares with you, like naturally, you know, like they're not gonna have to, somebody, if you were to receive a download or a message from God through somebody else, 100% of the time, they're not gonna say, God told me to tell you, because they'll just feel it in their heart to share. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, I mean, that's how I feel about my episodes. Like, I never feel pressured. I always write down my sessions, and I wrote down this session like way back in October. And I write down the sessions that I feel like at some point, somebody needs to hear this. And now's the time, because this has been happening to me a lot recently. And I just wanna come on here and share with you guys the importance of having a discerning mind, you know, and why is that gonna be your best friend throughout your journey? Because you are capable of connecting with God through so many different avenues. And when I say God, like, we're not speaking of somebody above us, we're speaking about energy that we have within. And the downloads that people get and thoughts, you know, those are curated from past, present, and, you know, things that we've seen for ourselves, you know. So I'm saying that when someone says, God told me to tell you, more than likely, no the fuck it did it, because no. Okay, but you're gonna get the message. So let me share with you guys this one-person cookie recipe. All right, we're in the kitchen with it. So I'm not gonna be like so descriptive. I'm just gonna do step by step for your one-person cookie recipe. The full recipe will be in the description below, so refer to that if you can't keep up. But yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so I got my butter browning, and if you don't know what browning butter is, a simple Google search can resolve that for you. Okay, step one is sugar. I do a mix of brown and white sugar. Okay, and then you're gonna add your brown butter, and then you wanna mix it till it's like fluffy, kind of. And then you're gonna add your egg and vanilla. I like to use just one egg yolk, and then I save the egg whites for my puppy dog. And then add your vanilla, and I just measure, oh shit, let's put that to the side. And I just measure vanilla with my heart. I feel like a lot of my baking is measured with my heart. But you know, do you. And some cinnamon to invite in prosperity. If you don't like cinnamon, you could just skip that step. But yeah, then you're gonna mix that together. And you know, this recipe takes like no time at all. So it's really quick. Egg yolk, our vanilla, and I put cinnamon. So now we're gonna add flour, a little bit of baking soda, and salt. And personally, I don't like to put too much salt in my dough. I like to sprinkle salt on top. But you know, do you. Some people like that saltier cookie. I like a more sweet cookie with salt on top. Yeah, and then you wanna fold the flour into your dough, because you're not making a cake, you're not making a batter, you're making a dough. So you want to fold, okay? All right, and then you should have your dough. And then I like to fold in some chocolate chips. Just a little bit inside, and then I like to put some on top of the dough. And then you're gonna get yourself a baking dish. You have your dough. And this recipe makes like 4 or 5, just depending on how big you make them. I usually do like 4, and I use a tablespoon to kind of make them somewhat the same. But, you know, just do your best. So you have your little cookie doughs. All right, and then just add a little bit of, or add some chocolate chips on top. I'm not shy with the chocolate chips. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of salt on top. Should be your cookies. Yeah, I'm so excited. All right, so while the oven preheats at 350, I usually like to freeze my cookie dough while the oven preheats, because like I just feel like it allows the dough to marinate, and I just think it's just better. It's just better cookies in the end. So while the oven preheats, these are gonna be in the freezer, and then once the oven's done, I'm gonna pop these in. But yeah, let's get back to this episode. So let's get to it. While those bake, we're gonna bake together, okay? So I have rolled up, can you see? Yeah, there we go. Come on. So I rolled up my chocolate chip cookie, Juicy J's, and I got my raw tips in there. And it's chilling on my little Ike stand, you already know, rocking with the best faux L. Shout out to Raw and Juicy J for sponsoring the vibes and always being a part of the vibe, because y'all know I'm just a girl, and these, like, tell me this is not like so on point for this episode. Like, what the fuck? And I rolled some loud up in it, so you already know. And then I got my dark side ashtray shining. All right, so let's spark this one up and let's have a session. Session 16, let's fucking go.
Take pressure, then you're not a diamond. I push through the struggle and level up out of my pain. Cause I got a fire inside me.
Let's jump right into this episode. We only have a short amount of time before these cookies are done, so I just want to get to it. So today we're going to be talking about Christ consciousness, and then I'm going to share with you guys something from the Bible. Like I said, I'm not common church folk, if that makes sense. I think that the Bible was a gift from prophets that, you know, has been altered throughout time, but we could talk about that some. That's a whole different conversation. But there is one, if I could describe this session, it'd be Jeremiah 14:14. Okay, and we'll get to that. I'll share with you guys exactly what Jeremiah 14:14 is, but let me just get into it with y'all, because some of us have the ability to hear downloads, right? And like, you're truly, when people say, oh, it's a download, that really is curated by experience, okay? So like, from this life or the past. And you know, it's not always meant for other people to know, you know, like your downloads aren't always meant to be shared, but you will feel guided in your heart. You will know if you are meant to share something versus if you are not. And like, having, like I said, that discerning mind is going to be your best friend, because then you can navigate your journey in ways that serve you and share the downloads for, you know, like kind of like how I'm doing here now. Like, I write down most of my downloads, and there's some of them that I put in a certain place to share with you guys, and then there's another journal where I just write for myself, like downloads that I received for myself in order for me to grow and prosper and evolve into more of my goddess energy, right? So, you know, like, those downloads are really you know, like, and there are plenty of false prophets who are not tapped in, and you know, deceit and stuff like that. Like, that's why the discerning mind is so key to all of this, is because you don't want to be easily deceived, manipulated, or controlled by somebody else's words, okay? So like, how you feel about yourself and what you say to yourself is going to be the most important always. And that's why I get on It Starts With You podcast and share these episodes to inspire self-mastery, because it's not about, like, I can share just from my experience and the downloads that I receive, but like, do what you will with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people just come and watch just to see, and some people actually receive messages that actually help them live their life in a more abundant manner, where it's actually helping them shift, you know, and transition and rise in vibration. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's up to you what you do with the information that you receive, whether it come from me or somebody else. But I'm just saying, not everybody is meant to receive a download from you. Even sometimes when you feel like, damn, I should say something, sometimes it's good to just close your fucking lips, okay? Because I had to learn that. I used to just talk and just say what the fuck was on my mind, but it's not always deserving, you know, like the energy doesn't always call for that. So having that discerning mind and knowing when to speak up and share your downloads versus when you shouldn't, and just allow. And then also, you know, vice versa, coming from other people, like there's things that people will say, and if they start with God told me to tell you, more than likely it's a bold-faced lie. Because like, why would you receive a message that I didn't, that I needed to know, and felt like you needed to speak on God's behalf in order for me to know, right? So that's just how I feel about it. But there are real ones that if God wanted you to hear something, like real people who are really tapped in, who are really at one with their God or goddess energy, and really receive downloads through, you know, their meditation and what they have experienced in their life and their story and all of that. Like, I do feel that people can, you know, help us evolve through learning from their lessons, right? And like, that person, like if you were to receive a message from somebody else, that person will feel guided to share something with you without having to announce the presence of God. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's cool. And like, it's cool to be surrounded by people who have Christ consciousness, or just consciousness in general. We're going to talk about what Christ consciousness is, but like just consciousness in general, and being able to navigate their own life without feeling any type of way about you and yours and how you live and all that. Like, either you align or you don't. And when you don't align, keep it pushing. And when you do, stay focused, you know, because when you get surrounded by people who do have Christ consciousness, you're going to feel that energy and that presence. And I feel like that is something, like I said, that you feel. It's not something that somebody has to announce. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to feel that. You're going to see that. They're going to glow from within. It's not something that can ever be taken. It's not it's something that is, it can't be built. It's something that you tap into or you don't tap into. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that, like, you can't build yourself to be a goddess. Like, it's either in you or in you. You know what I'm saying? And like, that is your choice, and how you choose to feel every single day is going to be dependent, and how close you get to your God or goddess energy is going to be dependent on how you choose to feel and what you choose to do through life, and how you choose to move in the karma, you know, cyclic, karmic, whatever you want to do it, like, put it however you want to put it. No matter what, like, you will know. And when someone is tapped in, you will know. And when you have a discerning mind, it'll be easier to channel like that, right? And put people in their boxes, like, yeah, tapped in, not tapped in. And if they're not tapped in, like, maybe you have been brought into their life to help them get tapped in through just you being you. And I feel like that is the best way to inspire somebody, is to be about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could talk about it all day. People can talk about it all day, but do you actually live it every single fucking day of your life? Okay then. So let's talk about Christ consciousness. And by Google definition, what is Christ consciousness? So Christ consciousness is a state of spiritual enlightenment representing the highest unitive awareness of God's love and the divine within, transcending ego, often described as embodying the wisdom, unconditional love, and compassion modeled by Jesus. This universal consciousness is considered accessible to all through spiritual practice, though some perspectives distinguish it from the historical divinity of Jesus. The definition, right, is it is seen as the anointed state where a person's consciousness merges with the divine or God's ideal for humanity. And I feel like all of our idealisms, like, it's subjective. So, but you know, like, good versus evil, faux ill. To achieve this state, I personally, this is what I suggest, is medicine, and the best medicine is meditation, right? So meditation is your medicine, and when you can sit down and be at one and quiet your mind and just be there, be present, you know, that's when, at least for me personally, I receive the most downloads, whether you're sitting still, taking a walk, but the silence, you know, there's so many ways to meditate. It doesn't have to just be like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's plenty ways to meditate. And when you find what works for you and you're able to just be, that's when the downloads will come in. And that's when you will receive, like a lot of people receive downloads through their dream state, because that is a time where they are completely, like they're allowing their subconscious to reveal. And I feel like that is what, you know, the messages and downloads we receive, like that is revelation of our own thoughts from this life or the past, okay? Like the core characteristics of this would just be like higher awareness, oneness, virtues, ego dissolution, you know, so like an elevated mental and emotional state that transcends, you know, beyond like the materialistic part of our lives. And while like I'm pretty materialistic, but not in the like handbag, shoes type of, like that type of materialism. I like things like homes, land, and animals, and cars, lots of those, helicopters, jets, you know, like there's different ways that you can be materialistic. So like when people are like, oh, materialistic shit is not everything, like you're a fucking liar, because why else would you be so ruled by money? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like if materialism wasn't shit to you, like you dead ass, like for me, in order to live off grid, that costs a lot of money, and a lot of people see it as like something that's like, oh, last case scenario, but really truthfully living off grid requires a certain type of discipline that goes beyond the 9-to-5 mindset. So I think that it's a very powerful move to make, you know, and being tapped in with your Christ consciousness, you know, while dissolving the illusion of the matrix, is life is beautiful, yo. I'm just saying, like it's a happy, grateful, abundant, beautiful, prosperous, rich, nurturing, bright, patient, or peaceful life. Like it's just amazing. It's amazing in order to be in control of how you choose to you know, experience your time here in this form. So I'm not religious, okay? Let's just keep that in your head. Like this is not about religion. And when you get beyond that religious and church mindset and realize like, yo, like this shit is bigger than all that, like this shit gets bigger than us, and when you actually put in perspective of what churches are, like you will definitely, it's gonna click. Like you don't need church, you don't need Jesus in order to be tapped in with your God or goddess energy. And that's that. And I don't want to get too religious on here, but I am going to share with you guys a piece of scripture from the Bible that, like I said from the beginning of this episode, resonates. And I feel like it's the best way to describe this episode because of the meaning of it. And even like, okay, Brittany, well, I don't want to listen to you because you don't go to church and you don't praise and bow your knee to Jesus. Like you're not so, I'm not saying that you're not supposed to worship anything outside of you, but it's just there. I do believe that there are spiritual laws and, you know, different rankings to this shit, and to worship something outside of you, to me doesn't make sense. It doesn't align. And so that's just my standpoint on it. But if a Bible verse were to give you clarity, and the Bible helps bring clarity for you, like I definitely recommend it. It's a great resource. And even I got this from the Bible, Jeremiah 14:14. So Jeremiah 14:14 declares that false prophets are prophesying lies in God's name, speaking unauthorized, deceitful visions from their own minds rather than from the Lord. It warns against listening to these false messages that promise peace during times of judgment. God explicitly states, I do not send them, nor did I command them to speak to them. The prophets are accused of delivering false visions, worthless divination, and the deceit of their own minds. Anytime someone says, God told me to tell you, like, just see that as a warning. It serves as a warning against trusting religious leaders who provide false hope and do not speak truth of God, okay? Because false prophets claim Okay, they claim to speak for God, but their messages are products of their own imagination, right? Like, just like your downloads are products of your own thoughts from and experiences from this life or the past, same with them. And like, they are projecting onto you their own deceit, because you know your destiny, you know who you are. And when you know who you are, nobody outside of you can ever say anything about that. Okay, nobody can tell you who you are. Like, nothing can shift, nothing can stop, block, transfer, none of that. If you know who you are, you know who you are, and nothing stands in your way, because you are who you are, and you are meant to be here for a reason. And when you know that reason and live in that purpose, then your life expands, then your mind expands, and then life gets better. And when you tap into that, like, remember, like, there are going to be people who come and try to share a message, because, like, think of it this way. If they're saying God told me to tell you this, why do they think they have an upper hand over your connection with source, universe, God, whatever it is? They don't. You have that connection, and you are able to tap into what you need to know through your own discipline, your own guidance. Where you feel your heart tells you to go, you need to listen to that. Where your intuition tells you to go, you need to listen to that. Like, I've been shown things and given things through dreams. I've been shown things and given things through music, books, podcasts, you know, just life in general, going out and experiencing life and having adventures and doing stuff and traveling and this and that, and just being who I am. And through it all, like, I'm just so grateful to have a discerning mind, because nothing can shift, you know? Like, I know when something's meant for me, and I know when it's not. And that is like a chef's kiss in the self-mastery journey, like, to know. So I just want to leave you with 3 things, okay? Just 3 things. And I'm gonna show you all these cookies that we just baked, and it's lit, okay? So just 3 things I want to leave you with, okay? Discernment is your best friend, all right? Discernment is your best friend, all right? Period, point blank. God reveals without announcement, okay? Number 2, God reveals without announcement. You will receive your downloads if you could just sit fucking still, if you can just be at one with yourself, if you can just take that time, whether it be 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, take a nap, but do what you got to do, because you choose to feel how you feel. And when you feel, based on the way you feel is what your life is going to reflect, okay? So being able to remain stoic in times of, you know, tribulations and trials and lessons, like, in order to stay true to you, you got to know who you are and have that discerning mind. And remember that God announces without, you know, or God reveals without announcement. So like even in the Bible, God prepares a table in the presence of your enemies, because no matter what's meant for you will always be for you. It's not going to pass you by. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, sometimes we go down a path that isn't for us, and we have to learn our lessons through those, you know, side quests. But like, really, really, truly, and always, forever, meditation is your medicine. Like, I'm not a doctor, lawyer, psychologist. Like, see the disclaimer below, but like, meditation is your medicine to a strong, decisive mind. A strong, decisive mind. To be able to sit and meditate is a power that not many people have the patience to tap into. And when you choose to be patient with yourself and tap into that, bro, you're gonna open portals in your own mind that you see IRL, like, yo, like, I'm so grateful I opened that portal. I'm so grateful I changed my thought on that. I'm so grateful to live the life I have. I'm so grateful to live in this abundance. I'm so grateful for everything. I'm so grateful to be at peace and have a safe home and have the abundance to take care of bills and plentiful to share, and, you know, my cup overflowing and the love abundant and so nurturing and so present, you know, in my life. Because when you are tapped in, your mind cannot be shifted. You know who you are. You know what God wants for you. Nobody can tell you differently. And I've had people try to tell me God doesn't want that for you. Like, who the fuck is you? Who the fuck is you? Because the vision that I got, you know what I'm saying? And it's never argue. Never argue. Allow motherfuckers who try to speak on God's behalf, allow what they say to just dissolve into the atmosphere and see it as, yo, they're projecting something onto me. And maybe sometimes you do need to hear something, but more than likely that shit is some deceit, and you got to stay discerning and know that you are able to tap in with your God or goddess energy, and nobody should speak on the behalf of your presence or of God's presence in your life. Guys, so session 16, and if nobody told you today, I love you. Okay, you matter, and you are here for a reason, and I'm so grateful and just blessed to be able to share with you the things that have helped me grow and evolve and really master myself, because I know what it's like to not know, and when you don't know, it's really hard to navigate life. And so I have dedicated myself to help others become in knowing with who they are and to inspire self-mastery. And I really hope that session 16 kind of open your mind up to help you become more discerning, you know, and inspire you to really tap into yourself and take those steps, because it's not easy, but it's worth it. And, you know, it's like a yacht, right? I could take a jet, I could take a helicopter, you know, we can take a flight, we can drive, and those things will get you there pretty quickly. But if you take the yacht, it's gonna take some time, but the views along the way, the journey is gonna fill you in ways that alter your fucking mind, that make you really fucking wake up to the magic that you have within, okay? So session 16, guys, these cookies about to hit. Let me know if y'all try out the recipe. The full recipe will be in the description, so check that out, because y'all know I did not share that shit. We just ran through that bitch. But yeah, session 16, that's a wrap.
Jump in the vortex of fortune, I don't need the fame. Put that on source, need a legacy off of my name. Talking about pressure, pressure.